Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another Scale Riders podcast, episode number 233, with your host, 65 Locs. Currently driving right now, headed out somewhere. Location unknown. Nah, I'm playing. But, yeah, man, it's been a minute. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a while. I was looking at the last time I did a podcast, it was like around April. I was like, man, it's been a minute right there. A lot of things have happened around, personal life. Daughter is now in preschool, so that was a big change right there. Going from daycare, that transition to preschool, and she loves it. It's been cool just seeing that growth, and I don't know, definitely a big thing, right, when it comes to family. Aside from that, even myself with model building, I've been getting back into it. It was pretty tough, the last maybe a couple months now, I want to say, just because of not having the bench. I had already mentioned to you guys on a previous episode where my bench, I decided, I'm gonna dismantle it, put it away. I'm gonna go ahead and give this whole room, this whole space to my daughter for the room right there. So now, as time passed, I was trying to find all right, when's the right time for me to work and do stuff, because a lot of things had changed. I started to I had free time, but also needed to think and focus on myself. All right, what do I need to do to keep going? Because there was a lot of times where I felt like I was super tired, and I was like, I need to get a lot of rest for sure. So then I started to change my sleeping pattern. Instead of staying up really late at night and waking up super early and keeping that momentum going every day and just feeling tired all the time, I'm going to sleep 9:30, 10 p.m., super early. In the beginning it felt weird, but I remember in the mornings I'd be really refreshed, waking up even earlier and just, feeling great to do stuff. And I kind of kept that going. I mean, there's once in a while where I decide, all right, I'm going to stay till midnight or something because I got stuff to do. But for the most part, I started to change that up. I started to change my diet, all these things, right? Just to feel better and to be even more focused. Because if I'm running a business, if I'm running, Scale Riders, everything, if I want to keep the machine going per se, it's how's it gonna run if the operator's not, all there, right? Feeling well, 100% and all that. So, things like that, you have to think about. And at the same time, it's not like I'm going out and doing all these things like back in the day, staying up late, going to shows, hanging out with friends and doing all this stuff. A lot of those phases have done. I do have a lot of friends, obviously. A lot of you guys are listening to this. We communicate online or when we see each other at a show, things like that. But it's different from that, nightlife or whatever, right? So this is right now, just like I said, balancing things out. If you want to do a lot of stuff, you have to make a schedule, figure out times to when to fit it all in, So now that I have all that, pretty tidied up, pretty good, I was like, all right, cool. So if I'm going to be working on my models, it's got to be portable, right? Anywhere I got to go, if it's going to be dining room table, or if, last minute I got to step out on the side of the house, spray something, paint something, or I need to run in the garage, airbrush something, or for some reason I just end up, visiting my parents. I have a long weekend or something, and I just have all this time that I'm like, man, I should be working on a model. I know I'm kicking with my family, but look, I got X amount of hours. I could have been working on something. Opportunities like that, I was considering all right, what do I need to do in order to be portable, to have all my stuff with me. If I decide, all right, I'm gonna go here, I have time, I can work on stuff. Or let's just say I go on a trip or whatever here in California, and I want to bring my stuff, or I go visit a friend, let's just say I go visit Armando or something, and he's like, hey, I'm having a build day, come through, cool. I could just get my stuff and be on my way. So I've been looking at toolboxes, And a lot of the toolboxes, like there's this one I used to use a lot. I got it from Michael's. It's really great when you're carrying your models to shows, because you could fit up to like 3, maybe even like 4 models in there, right? Like lined up nicely. You could put like a really nice microfiber towel at the bottom, put your models next to each other, maybe a little piece of foam or a little piece of bubble wrap, whatever, on the edges, just to make sure that the models don't, crash into each other, or like scratch each other from the sides. And I was carrying that. I still have mine. I did a video on it too some years back, for those that are probably hearing this for the first time. But it's a plastic container, has a handle, and at the top it has this tray where you could also put your tools, glue, all these like things, just in case something happens at the show, like last minute a wheel falls off, side view mirror, an antenna, any little bit that falls off, you have an opportunity to pop that thing open and do your thing, get it going, and put it all away. And that has helped me for so long. But the thing now is that case, that little case that I was using, it pretty much got adopted now by other tools and other things. So I started kind of dabbling into learning about soldering or soldering, and I wanted to acquire the tools I needed for that, all the small little bits and whatnot that I need for that. And I started to use that for that, because it came in handy and I didn't have where else to put all my other stuff, right? Because I had it empty. I was like, let me just use that. So now that thing is being used and it has a new home for something else, right? So then I was thinking, dang, like, I know I could go to Michael's and buy another one, but there has to be something else. There has to be something else. So there's a company based out of Japan. It's called Toyo. Or Toyo, maybe I'm saying it wrong, I don't know, but Toyo, Toyo, based out of Japan. They make these really nice metal cases, right? There's different sizes, and I already own one. It's a small one, and I even measured, you could fit tools in there, but I was like, but this isn't what I want to use. So I ended up using that for my little turntable accessories, 45 adapters, cleaning brushes, and whatnot, right? But that brand, just knowing the durability and the way that little box is, it made me look into it, right? It made me think all right, cool. Well, what else does Toyo make? So I started just peeping that out. I started going on their website. Started going, just going deep, rabbit hole. Figuring out, all right, Toyo, what else do they make? And they do make more boxes, toolboxes, different sizes. So I was like, ooh, dang, these look pretty dope. Different colors, red, blue, even a white. They have that military green, and that one caught my attention. I was like, I like the green. It looks very low key. It could kind of blend in a lot of things, just leaving it right there. And so I went ahead and ordered a couple different sizes and styles of the toolbox, just to see which would be suited for what I wanted to do. And I got the first one in, and then I realized all right, well, this one I could definitely fit a lot of my tools, but not everything, right? It's maybe half of the stuff that I'm currently using will fit in this box. So I was like, let me wait until I get the other box. The other box has a bottom compartment. You open it up, the top, there's these compartments that unfold that look really sick. And I was like, awesome, I'm gonna go ahead and probably use this. So I started fitting things in both just to see, and decided, you know what, I'm gonna go with this one, the one where everything folds out. And I started to just start putting everything in there, and yeah, it starts to get heavy. Those pieces start to get heavy, but it is manageable. It's nothing crazy. The God Hand tempered glass cutting mat fits in the bottom of this thing, which is awesome. And that cutting mat's not huge. It's a small cutting mat, So that fits in there. I could possibly fit a model car in there too in the bottom if I wanted to. But for this case, I'm just primarily carrying all my tools, right? So my plan is, or what I visualize is like, all right, if I'm on the go and I need to, gather up my tools, everything's already in there. I just bring the box, and then separately I'll have the model car box kit with me. Those are going to be the two items that I'd be carrying, and that'd be it. Once I open that thing up, I could bust out with everything. There'd be a lot of stuff in there to bust out with, and as of lately, I pulled out a model, not recently. Once I got this box, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. I don't know if you guys are like that. Whenever you guys are going to jump into something, I know I have a couple of friends that are like that too, where before we jump into it, a project or anything we want to do, we want to make sure we acquire our tools and acquire all the things that we need prior to starting, the project, the adventure, what we're going to get ourselves into, and for me, even though I have all my tools and all this stuff, it's kind of spread out everywhere. It's in different places. So I needed a new home, like for the tools, a new housing, a portable home, right? Because I had things like in my wood machinist boxes for tools, and then I had tools like in this other bin, and then I had some tools in the garage. Like they were just kind of spread out everywhere because I had to, move everything a while back. And I had to do it kind of soon to surprise my daughter. We're like, oh, here's the new room, right? So now that I started piecing everything back together into this box, I was like, all right, cool. I'm ready to go. Bust out the box, bust out the model, and I busted out the Cedric Gloria model that has like a wide body kit. And with this model, back then, what I had done was, I had already glued a lot of the parts to the chassis. I had the wheels mounted on. The bottom chassis was mounted onto the body as a mock-up. Body was already primered and ready to go. I had some items already pre-fitted, like the glass, the headlights, all that good stuff, pre-fitted on there just to make sure everything's gonna fit cool. And it was pretty much just ready to go. And it was funny because I ended up started taking off the glass and everything, right? Like the headlights and all that. Popping it back off, the front grille, all these little things I was mocking up. But then what ended up happening is that when I was like taking off, I would say, it was the right side, the front glass from the right side on the headlight, it was kind of stuck in there, So I had to take my time and get different tools to get it out of there, right? To nudge it out. I was afraid I was gonna end up breaking that headlight, because I was like, dude, if I break it, the car might not have a headlight, or I might have to just get some crystal clear glue and just toss them in there and just, try to develop one over time, because they'll dry clear. But, it's just going to sink in, and to make something kind of pop out, I would have to do layers upon layers, with like days or whatever of letting it dry. So I was like, all right, I think I might have to do that, but whatever. So I ended up getting it out. But when I got it out, what ended up happening was it was so lodged in there, I ended up chipping off some of this plastic styrene that I had glued between the body kit and the actual body of the model. And when I chipped that off, I was like, dang, now it just, one side was looking different from the other on the front side. So I just, I could have been like, all right, cool, let me put some styrene and try to fix it, put glue and go down that rabbit hole. But I didn't want to do that. I was like, you know what, I don't want to complicate things. So I just started sanding as much as I could of like the cavity, and just to kind of smooth it out. And then I had to do the same to the other side just to match it. So this way both sides are matched. And then I started sanding a little bit of the inside of the housing for the headlights. So this way I try to avoid that from happening again. And so I went ahead and did that, and I kind of exposed, I had to basically sand through the primer. So now all that was exposed right there. And then once I had that, you can see the styrene and it was all exposed. I was like, all right, cool. Let me start to prep this car because I'm gonna paint it soon. I just had this itch that hit me, like I need to paint, So I started pulling out all my House of Color paint. I started to decide like what color am I gonna paint this car, what color is the interior gonna be, and I remembered, well, I have some of that Tamiya aircraft paint, that rattle can paint. I was like, why not bust out that? So then I decided, you know what, I have a tan, let me roll with the tan. And that right there, to me, it comes inspiration from the builders from Japan, the model builders, that they tend to use a lot of these colors, these aircraft colors on their interiors. And I was like, you know what, I want to do it. I've never done it. Let me try it out. So I was like, I'm going to go with the tan. But then from using the tan, well, what's going to be the color of the exterior of the car, So I decided to go with like a teal candy. So just so it's very vibrant, very bright with the tan interior. And I mean, I've seen some nice combos with even like a really like the Oriental blue with like a tan interior, even like a really nice like a bright like purple color with the tan interior. So tan can be very universal. I tend to always go with the black and like or gray. Like I always use those kind of colors. But tan, I never do the tan. So I was like, I'm gonna go with the tan. I went ahead, got my rattle can, hit that up, sprayed the interior with tan, and then when it came down to the body, I remember just like propping the body up on the Tamiya stand, the spray stand, and I already had my paint mixed up. The teal candy was already ready to go. My Orion Silver was ready to go. But the Orion Silver I'm using is from the Shimmer and 2 line. So it's the Orion Silver Max. So this one's a lot more richer. It's a lot brighter. And even the tiny little metallic flakes that are in there are just very bright. If you compare that one, Orion Silver Max, to the Orion Silver, there's a huge difference. Because I used to own both, and I would compare, or even when you spray, you realize like, oh man, this one looks a lot more richer, way more than the other. So when I was inspecting the body, that's when I was like, oh man, I forgot to primer the front end, because I ended up sanding those little bits in the front by the headlights. And then there was like on the roof, there was, I don't know what it was, like a little smudge or something, but I ended up like just wiping it off a little top with a little bit of water, and I just wiped it off. And I was thinking, dang, I didn't even wash the model, I didn't even give it like a pre-soak before I even paint it. So I was basically like just kind of going against like all these like rules or whatever that I always follow whenever I'm working on a model. I was just, I don't know, being very unorthodox, like, all right, I'm just gonna do it this way. And I was kind of like, you know what, I just want to see what happens. If something bad happens, I'll learn from it. But if nothing bad happens, then I'll roll with the punches, let's see what happens. So I just didn't want to go back at this point. I just wanted to keep moving forward, and I just started prepping my airbrush, the booth, everything, and my compressor was ready to go. And I just started, I used my the Iwata HPTH, which is the pistol grip airbrush, loaded that thing up, and I just started spraying away the whole body. I did like a few coats of Orion Silver Max, covered up the body pretty quickly, had it out in the sun, and it was just shiny, like really nice. I let it chill, try to gas out, but it was like a hot day. It's been hot now over here, about 90s at least, and I let it gas out, be in the sun, bring it back in, and I was like, well, what am I waiting for? I mean, I could wait till tomorrow and spray the candy, but when I could do it right now, why not? And you guys got to understand, like, when it comes to these opportunities to paint, my time is limited. It's not like back then when I was single, I didn't have a baby, I didn't have that many ton of responsibilities as I have now, where I could work at my own pace. I could spend 6 hours working on a model. I could spend endless amount of hours painting if I wanted to, right? All these things just to explore, express, and have fun. Like back then it was different. Like when I think back at those times, I think, dang, no wonder back then I was doing all these things and I had all this time to do all this stuff, right? And I know I could still do it, but my time is limited, so I'm constantly looking at the clock, like, all right, cool, I got a little bit more time, let me throw on the candy. So I loaded up the airbrush, cleaned it up, loaded up the airbrush, and I started spraying my candy. What I like about the HPTH, especially when you're shooting candy, is that it has a fan tip. So the fan tip is at least like a 2-inch wide fan tip. So this way, when you're spraying your candy and you're overlapping, you have a better chance of getting an even spray out and an even overlap, because it's more visible versus using like a traditional airbrush where the tip that it's spraying out, it's more of a shape of a ball instead of a flat fan tip. So the ball is not going to give you like a 2-inch width. It's going to be more of a like a 0.5, not even a 1 inch, And I mean, you could probably get a 1 inch, but you have to put that airbrush farther away from the model and pull the trigger all the way back, and it's going to take a little bit more time, and you do run the risk of tiger striping, maybe not overlapping as well, not getting an even coat, where now the car is like mismatched. You'll never see a car painter paint a 101 scale car with a spray gun where they'll not have a fan tip, where they change it down more to like a ball shape or even smaller. You won't see that. That will not happen, So I started spraying the car, getting some coverage on there, letting it dry out, spraying a little more, and then that's it. On this one, I went a little bit more heavier, more deep. I wanted this color to be more rich. I tend to go really light when I spray candy. I never really go that dark. I usually tend to go a lot lighter with my candies, just because I know I want to get that light look. I don't want it to be all like too dark, right? So sometimes when you do it too dark, it could look very blotchy, or it looks off in my eyes. But it depends. Like, it just depends what you're going for, right? There could be some paint jobs where it's all patterned, but you want some dark tones and you want some light tones of the same color, And a lot of the times I like to just go really soft and light on mine. But with this one, I was like, I want to go dark. I want to go really dark. I just want to keep spraying and spraying and spraying, get this thing nice and dark. So this way, when I clear it and when it's under the sun, I want it to be transparent, that you can see the bottom, and that thing just shines right through. So I painted it up. I started put it away. I cleaned everything up. And once cleanup and everything was done, I just was like, all right, that's it for the day. I'll work on it. I have no more time. I'll work on it tomorrow. So then tomorrow came, and I had another opportunity to clear coat the car. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's go do this. Went ahead, pulled out the model. Took a look at it. The thing with this paint, urethane paint, is that it dries fast. Like once you spray it, if you wait about even like 20 minutes, you could even clear coat over it. It dries flat, like a matte finish, so it's not wet. It's not like enamel or lacquer, where when you're spraying so much, it looks pretty wet. And then when it dries, it has a different kind of shimmer to it. No, it just dries really, really flat. And when you spray your clear, that's where the magic happens. That's where everything comes to life. That's where you're going to get that wet look right there. So I started to prep my area, started mixing my clear. It was like a 3:1:1. So 3 parts of clear to 1 part reducer, 1 part catalyst. Mix that all up together, and using my Tamiya jar, I let that sit for about like 5 minutes. So this way all the different components are mixed in, well bonded together. And then for this, instead of using the HPTH, I have separate airbrushes for clear, because then you never want to use the same airbrush for every application. So I decided to bust out with my Iwata HP CS 0.5 needle, and I poured in the clear, and then I started just cleaning the car. I started to go really light on that first initial coat of clear, just to make it really tacky, and also this way it starts to kind of settle there as like a small little introductional bed for what's going to come after that. And I waited about 10 minutes to flash after I sprayed that down. So you wait 10 minutes. I had a timer going. Once the 10 minutes was up, I came back. I sprayed another layer. I waited another 10 minutes. And now for this third layer, I went a little bit more heavy, but I was still very cautious of the areas where the headlights are going to fit, the tail lights are going to fit, in between the body kit, like the edges underneath, just because I was really worried about getting any kind of dripping along those sides, because it's a different shape, when it comes to the body kit. And now for that, I waited about 15 minutes or 20, sorry. I waited 20 minutes for that to flash out. I would take it out for the sun, just to hold it with my hand holding it, for the sun to hit it a little bit, and then I'd bring it back in. And then after that, I sprayed like 1 more coat of clear. And the reason why I kept spraying like a 4th one was because I was looking at it, and I could tell that I needed to add more clear, because you could still see some of the roughness on the clear, and that's due to the Orion Silver Max, all those like little fine little metallic flakes that are in there. So I needed to bury those, So I sprayed another layer, and it started to look smoother, but it's still not the final, like quote, because it was good enough for me to stop there. I didn't want to bury it too crazy, because then I knew I was going to get some drip action. So now put it away, and I said, all right, I'm going to let this gas out for at least a few days. I know a lot of people like to wait a week. Depending how my schedule is going to be, it might be a week, who knows. But I did this on a Sunday. As I'm recording this right now, today's Wednesday morning. So the model right now, if I had the time and I wanted to pull it out and touch it, I could. And also, if I wanted to like wet sand, I could right now. Because by now, all that clear is already dry. The first stage. I gave it enough time for it to start to dry, but still not completely dry, in order to receive the second layer. The same with the second layer, and now the third, and then the fourth. So all those layers are combined, and they start to dry out together. So now that's going to be all set, I'd be able to inspect the body, start to analyze and see, all right, what areas would need a little bit more clear, what areas are fine and to be careful for. So then I get my God hand sanding pad. Depending how rough it'd be, I'd be going up to the higher grits, So if I needed to go like a 20,000 or maybe like a 40,000, like the really high fine grits, I'd use that just to smooth it out. I don't want to wet sand this thing at like 1,000 or a 320, like something that extreme for the clear, because then I'm just going to be scratching the clear like crazy. But what's going to happen is I'm going to end up burning through it and end up making contact with the candy and the metallic flake. And if I feel roughness, I got to be very careful about those areas, because I might even have to go finer, because it could be the metallic, little metallic flake that's standing up, and if I knock that down, I'm going to end up cutting off that layer of clear. So basically, you're going to look at the car's going to be all candied, but then you're going to notice these like metallic silver, like it's going to look like freckles. It's going to look weird, So that right there is something that I got to be very careful for. I haven't inspected it yet, but those are already things that I'm thinking about to look out for when it's going to come down to that situation. From there, I have to, once that's done, like let's say once it's wet, wet sand, I got to wash it, get it prepped up, wash it, dried, because the next session is going to be a flow coat of clear. And this clear, it's going to probably just be like a couple coats of clear and that's it. Nothing crazy, because it already has clear. I'm basically just going back over. I'm adding a little bit more reducer into this layer of clear. So this way, it's more of a flow coat. So when the clear lands, it starts to flow out and fit into any little crevices, areas that needs to be in. It's like a coating basically for what's already there, and you just let that dry out. Put it on a evenly flat surface, and you're good to go right there. That coat of clear is going to be basically the housing for when you're going to do a wet sand polish if needed. If you need to polish your model, you do it. You're going to have to do it that way. So pretty excited about that build. Already visualizing it. It's going to be the teal green with the tan interior, the front grille. What I like about it, I got a couple. You get like a couple options for the front grille that you could paint, but you also get like a chrome option too, which is pretty neat. Since the car is already very loud, with the paint and also with the body kit, it's gonna be like a really loud car. Just like if you saw this car in the street, it'd stand out in the US, because we're not used to seeing a car with that type of a body kit. It's like, what the hell? It looks weird. It's all slammed, right? In Japan, it's like normal. It's like, oh, okay, cool. No big deal. But out here, I'm visualizing it here, So I'm like, you know what? If it's already being that loud, that obnoxious, let's just go with the chrome grille. Why not? Chrome wheels, chrome grille. I'm just gonna do like a little backwash on the front grille. I don't want it to look too plasticky either. I want to look clean, but I want a little bit of panel line, little darkness in between the grille, right? Give it a little bit more realistic for what it is. And have that all set up in there. I already went ahead and I started to do a panel lining in between the interior, the steering wheel column, the dashboard, the side panels, the interior door panels, those they already have the panel lining in there. I really like the way it came out. Already put the decals on inside of the interior with the gauges on the dash console, all that good stuff. The radio, that's already there. What else? Where am I at right now? I started to do the seats, but then I noticed in the seats they start to look a little messy. So panel lines in there. It's just what I need to do is I need to get a little bit of thinner on a little cotton swab, and I just need to go over and wipe off some of the excess of the black panel line that got on the seats, on the bigger parts, not on the crevices, but just on the bigger parts, and that'll be done. Once I clean that up, I just got to glue all that, and that's good to go. I have to back mask the windows, cover up the windows, so this way I could, start to paint the black trim on the windows. Got to sort that out. That's gonna be like, back then I used to dread it, like, oh my god, I gotta do this. Man, that's easy, nothing crazy. So I gotta do that, and then I also gotta mask around the car to most likely paint around some of the trims on the car, but that has to be done later. Like once the car gets its final coat of clear, the flow coat, then that's what would be next. Right there is I'd have to do that, and then also put some of the final decals like on the glass. So let's just say body's done, glass is done, let's say interior is done, then this thing is just ready for assembly, ready to be glued. Glue the exhaust tips and all that stuff, and it's done. And I got a new car right there to bring to shows. So that's gonna be pretty exciting right there. I'm really hyped on this car right now. I'm hyped that it feels good knowing that I just have my booth set up. Like whenever I need a spray, it's right there, and I could just go in there and boom. So feeling good having that set up, having my portable toolbox set up. What else? Man, at this point, there's nothing holding me back but time and myself, right? I gotta psych myself up. I gotta be hyped. I gotta take advantage of the times that I have. And, sometimes I'm realizing, man, nighttime, I don't think it's gonna be a good time for me to work on models. I'm just getting so used to going to sleep early now, where, like I said, I'm waking up early. So I think morning time is gonna be more that AM wake up of like let's say I get up, if I go to sleep at 9 a.m. and I wake up at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., the house is still quiet. There's nothing, everyone's still asleep. I still have an opportunity to work on a model, because it's tough. At night, it's tough, man. You work, you take care of the fam, you do all these things around the house. By the time it's night, bro, you're drained or you're ready to relax, dude. There's no really like, oh yeah, I want to do all. Yeah, you want to do all this stuff. Your mind wants to do it, but is your body gonna let you do it? And then when you're trying to do it, it's like now your body's like, nah, yeah, right now is not the good time to do it. So that's kind of where it is. But if I put in the time to prep up these models, that'll give me more time to handle in the booth, get some stuff painted up, and just go from there. But this one here, I gotta tackle this one. The next car I got to shoot some clear on is gonna be the AE86 with the Pandem kit. That right there, it's funny how I ended up skipping over this one and I just jumped into this other one, But hey, sometimes you gotta make decisions. Sometimes that has to happen in order to get you back. You gotta to jump in the pool, get your feet wet and everything. Sometimes you gotta do these kind of things, Fortunately, that's what I had to do in this case in order to get myself back in there. I did post some photographs on my Instagram page, which I'm pretty sure popped up on my Facebook too. Facebook page. So if you're listening to this and you want to check out what I'm talking about, what I've described, if you go to my Instagram at 65locs_ or at Scale Riders on Instagram, you should be able to see those photos in there, and I'll put that link on the description to this episode too later, once it's up and loaded. When I get home later tonight, now that I'm recording this, I'm gonna do my best to upload this episode tonight. Sometimes it could get tough to upload an episode right away. Come home, like I said, tired, all this other stuff that the next day has to go up or whatever. But this time I'm gonna try my best to get it up and going today once I get home, so this way you guys can peep this out. Today's Wednesday, the 3rd of July. Tomorrow's 4th of July. That's going to be coming up. Everyone, it's holiday, so everyone has the day off here. I know we got stuff we're going to do, and I'm just trying to think all right, so let's say if I bring that body in today in the afternoon, and if I have time to inspect it, wet sand it, tomorrow would give me a nice opportunity in the early morning, to clear coat that car. If I really want to go all out and do it like that, I know I can do it like that tomorrow. And if that don't work out, then I still got Friday, or I got the weekend to do it in the early morning. And the only reason the early morning for me fits right now is because no one's around, right? I can do it. I'm not really worried about the weather. I know it'll be a lot cooler. I'm not worried about that. If it was hot, it'd probably be better, because that would help me, give me an advantage for the clears to start work, doing its thing and start drying, right? And but I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna play by ear. No guarantees. I gotta play by ear. But I do have that on the top of my head. All right, that is a possibility of doing that. So we'll see. But in the meantime, while if that gets sprayed or whatever, I could still in the background be prepping the glass by inserting the tape, the inserts that go on the glass and everything, and kind of going from there, and just kind of seeing what's up. So I'm gonna see what's gonna end up happening with that. But it will be a new build that will be completed soon, and bring that out to whatever shows, stuff like that. I did also acquire some new kits that already arrived, and I'm gonna be getting those in today. They're gonna be available already on the website. I mean, they're there for pre-order, but they will be there now for official shipping out. I know we got the holidays rolling up tomorrow, and it's gonna be a long weekend. So any orders that you place, right now, I probably won't be able to ship until Monday. I mean, if I could Saturday, I will, but most likely Monday, just because it's a long weekend, and a lot of things are gonna be closed, or I'm gonna probably be out of town. I don't know. I gotta see what's up, what I gotta do. But we do got the new Liberty Walk Lamborghinis that came in. These are pretty much, I wonder if these are the last ones, man, because they've been busting out with so many Lambos. Lambo this, Lambo that, Liberty Walk. It's like a lot, dude. It's a lot. They all look badass, though. I'll tell you that. They all look badass. And this one here, it might be the last one, I want to say, because I have not seen anything else promoted. And I'm kind of all right, well, what else is there to bust out with or promote, because it is a lot of Lambos. I thought the Murcielago, that would be the last one, right? That they were gonna bust out with, But no, there's like more coming out. Watch, I'm gonna pull out real quick. So a couple other cars that showed up. One of them being the Aoshima insurance car, the President 89. That's a Nissan. That one looks like it would make like a really nice VIP style kit. Slam, cambered wheels, huge 20-inch wheels, maybe 22s. Or 20-inch would look pretty sick. The other one is also an insurance car. It's a SEMA Y31 and 89. That one also looks pretty dope. They look quite similar, to be honest, but the box art's different on there, the presentation of it. And then also, all right, for the Liberty Walk, what it is the Lamborghini Aventador Limited Edition Volume 2. Ooh, the Volume 2 right there. So we acquired those as well. And these copies, I only ordered 10. I ordered these a while back, and these are gonna be all the copies I'm gonna get. Like, I'm not gonna restock on these Aventadors. Like, once these 10 are done, they're done. You know, I'm not gonna carry them anymore. You know, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I haven't been stocking so much Aoshima like I did before. I was going very like super gung ho on stocking up on Aoshima stuff, and you know, I would say maybe like the last, like, I don't know, I think it's been 2 months. I don't know how long. It's been a while. I decided not to pursue it so much as like I was in the beginning. I am going to be getting Aoshima stuff, but in small quantities, you know. And I know I've kind of already mentioned about a lot of kits of getting small quantities, and that's just it's more of a decision I'm making right now. I mean, it's been kind of like that. I mean, this one I got 10 copies, but that was pre-ordered back then before I had made this decision, you know. And I really don't want to be stuck with so many kits. I don't want to be having so many kits. You know, before having like that huge like stash of kits of availability was pretty fun and neat and just kind of trippy. Like, when I look back at my photos, I'm like, wow, that was a lot of kits, you know. And a lot of you guys got a lot of the kits, and that was awesome. You know, you guys supported me, copped a lot of those kits and everything, but they do take up a lot of space, and at the same time, like you know, it's really, sometimes some of those kits are really hard to move now. Like, I feel Aoshima's been like flooding the market, and I don't know, man. Like, they're cool kits. Like, the kits are dope and everything, but as far as the I don't know, the exclusivity or the excitement, or it's getting kind of stale, I feel like, you know. I don't know. And I'm just saying it from a perspective from someone who builds models, but also someone who sells them too, you know. And it's just one of those things, like, you know, it's a personal decision. If I want my business to thrive, want it to move forward, you know, you got to make decisions sometimes. You can't stay stuck to the same thing. Can't stay stuck to like trying to carry a lot of stuff. And I think my mindset now, after being, you know, all these years into it, and I mean, I'm still a fairly new business, but I want to be headed in the right track, you know. I don't want to just have an excess amount of stuff that isn't necessary, you know. I really, my goal is to be able to provide all the right tools that people need to take their build to the next level. I want to provide, you know, all the parts that people want, not necessarily what I want, but what my customers want. Because if my customers are reaching out to me like, hey, I'm looking for this, I want this, when are you going to carry this? If they're reaching out to me and they're requesting these things, and if I have access to them, I'll get it for them, But if there's like brands and things that like no one cares about, no one wants, why even carry them? So narrowing down that, what my customer wants, but also it's like carrying, what your customer needs, and it's also like seeking those things too, because I do get hit up a lot from different companies, like, hey, we have my tools, or carry my tools, or hey, we want to distribute tools. So many, bro. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's like you already have a lot of your major tool companies, but then you have an excess amount of other companies that are more underground that come out. And I get it. They're trying to come up. But it's like, when I see these tools, I already know that this is the same tool as that tool. I already know this is the same one. It's just they etched a different name on it, Like, I already know the company that makes Tamiya's tools. Like, that right there, it's like, all right, cool, like, and even other companies that can make God Hand and other things, you could tell. And when there's like new companies that come out that are like, oh, well, like this tool is like new or whatever, but it's like the same tool, just a different name, a different branding on it. It's exactly the same tweezer, or how is this going to be better than that? Things like that I'm like, nah, I'm just going to stick to what people know and what I know, If there's going to be something new, like if a vendor wants to send me, if they're telling me about their tools, I got to test them out, but they got to send them to me. I'm not going to buy them and be like, all right, cool. Right there, I have to like, request, all right, cool, well, send them to me. And then I got to take off the scale writer's hat, and now I got to put on my hobbyist, modelist hat on and put them to the test and use them. And it's going to take time, because I can't just cut stuff up right there and there and be like, oh, all these are great. No, I gotta put them to the test. You're right. I gotta use them. I gotta see what's up. And if I think like, oh dang, or oh, this would be great. If I see that advantage, all right, cool. Then I'm interested. I'm all in. But if it's like the same, getting the same results as other tools I have, or less of a result, then I'm not gonna bother. Like, why? I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to do that. So with the kids, limited on kids, the tools, narrowing down to the stuff people see, people want, and also like whatever you see on the site, a lot of that stuff's like core stuff that I know, like, dude, like, I have this, I use this all the time in my bench. My homies use this on my bench. A lot of the modelists that I know that are building high level stuff, this is what they're using. And right now, like, all the stuff, a lot of people right now are building high level stuff. A lot of people who have came into it new within the last 2 years are killing it right now. They're getting very creative. They're doing all these things, and nothing's holding them back. And you got to think why, like, why is that? There's lots of information online. There's a lot of inspiration, but at the same time, you have the right tools, you have the right materials. You're getting the best of the best info at the moment right now. That people are just like killing it right now with it, and it's pretty dope. It's very exciting. So I don't know. I just 2024, middle of the year, later. I just want to see what's going to happen in 2025 and going forward. everything is changing. Technology is being embraced to its fullest, with 3D printing. And we'll see what else, what other kind of technologies. We got to combine the old technologies with the new technologies, and also everything from scratch building to getting something printed. You still got to embrace all those things right there. Scratch building will never go away. You'll always have to do that at some point. You could design and print something, but there's going to be some moments where you're going to have to fill in an area, or you're going to have to customize and create a new dash, or you're going to have to rip out the parts of the interior and create your own, where if you're quick, you could do it all by scratch building right there and then. Get it glued up, get it primered up, and do all these various different things. But definitely embrace everything. That will be fun right there within itself. And what are you guys building? I mean, you guys listening to this podcast, if you're on Instagram, you're building a model, tag us at Scale Riders on Instagram. Just tag us. I want to see what you're building, because when you do the tag and you post your post and you tag me, it's gonna shoot the DM to me directly, and I'll be able to see what you're doing, and I'll be able to share that. I'll be able to share that to my my followers right there, people that are tuned in. They'll be able to see what you're doing, as well. As long as your account's not private, others can see what you're doing. But if it's private, I guess only if I'm following you, I think I can only see it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious. I want to see what you guys are building, because every time I go on Instagram, there's new accounts. There's a whole new accounts I have never seen. I read some of the descriptions on the bios, or they don't really have, barely have a couple posts that they just started posting. And I'm like, oh, dope. Start following you back, or just follow you, because I want to see what you're gonna come out with, and the community's growing. It's growing more. There's more modelists coming into it. Some that have been doing it, but now they're exploring, a new home, a new support. People who are in different platforms, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, different platforms. People are busting out with their models and just showing, boom, this is what I do, So it's pretty cool. It's pretty dope right there. But yeah, we'll keep tagging us, and we'll keep you guys informed. The new stickers have a new EF9, a box art, cover art from that comes from the new hobby kit that's going to be dropping this year with the EF9, the Jack's livery. So with those kits, the EF9, I had built an EF9 with the Scale Riders livery. Man, I fell in love with that kit when I started working it. And what made things even better is when I started using the EF9 kit from White Chocolate. White Chocolate is selling one. And man, when I was using that, damn, this lady's crazy. I'm on the freeway right now. This lady's going 20 miles an hour. She's gonna get pulled over. She shouldn't be driving. That's kind of dangerous back there. Everyone's going 80, and this lady's going 20. Come on. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, the EF9. So built that kit, fell in love with it. It was so awesome to build. Use the White Chocolate, gave it more of a street version look, street custom, pretty sick. And now when I wanted to get another one, I mean, those kits were out. They were like done, like no more. So if you are looking for one, the only place you could find one was in a secondary market, right? Even more expensive. So I was like, dang. All right. So now what's happened is that the announcement came out that the new EF9 is dropping sometime this year. And I was like, ooh, I got to get those for the store. I know they're going to be rare. Like, once this prints out, it's out. I don't know how many they printed, but I know that once, like, let's say if I want to re-up on it, I'm pretty sure it's going to probably be sold out from my distributor. And no chances of even knowing or even getting more. I really doubt that they'll get even more. I think that'll be it, like a one and done, Civic EF9. So once I know the month of when they're going to step in, I might have to enable the pre-order on that one for you guys, because I know that one's going to sell out pretty fast once those come out. Also, I'm getting those in, and then the the PE set too for that. Ooh, that's going to be dope. So I'm excited to get that, the PE set for it. What else? Man, there's just so many cool little things to be able to get for it, But it should be pretty neat. I definitely want to get that. Trying to think of what else is going to come out. Oh yeah, Nunu's dropping this new BMW, and then also a Porsche as well. But I don't know the specific to the model number of those two right now. I'm just going off the top of my head right now before I forget. But I know they're busting out with those. The box art for the Porsche has the pig pink artwork. So I'm sure if you paint the model pink, you should be able to slide in those decals in there that give it the little cut incisions to the pig. It's pretty funny, kind of cute. I mean, because it looks kind of cartoony, but I don't know. That one looks pretty badass. I'm almost here. At the destination. Let me see how damn, 1 hour. 1 hour right now recording this right now. Dang. I wasn't sure how long I was going to be able to record, based on the commute and everything. But I'm glad I got the jump on it right when I left. So we're doing good though with timing and everything. But I definitely want to see what you guys are building. Dedicated magazine pre-orders are now up and available. Dedicatedmagazine.com. Go on their website. You can lock in your pre-order. They also have their show that's going to be coming up. Let me see if I could jump in on the website, or let me see. Dedicated. Let's see. Ooh, here we go. Dedicated magazine coming soon. So we got to pre-order that. $25 for the pre-order. This is for volume 6. Let me see if there's any info for the show. Oh, there we go, the show. So we got the dedicated super show taking place in Denton, Texas. So a lot of you guys that are out there in Texas that listen to the podcast or live or neighboring with Texas know that there's going to be a show in Denton, Texas. So make sure you bust out your maps. Go on maps, type in Denton, Texas, and see how far it is from you. See how far of a distance. See if driving, flying, what's going to be the best option for you to get there. Start looking at the plane tickets, hotels. Start seeing like, all right, what's up, like to go out there, the possibilities of that. Let me give you guys a date. If you want to, I'll give you guys some time right now. Get a pen, get a marker, or get your spray can and spray. Not a spray can, but get a pen. So this is gonna be September 21st, 2024. September 21st, 2024. This is dedicated magazine super show. Dang, coming up. So I know for a lot of you guys that are in Texas already, this is in your backyard. Time to get your models ready, polish them up, get them looking super nice, and start getting ready for the show. And should be exciting. Let me see what else. Sorry, I'm like going downhill. I try not to like. It's hard to read as you're going downhill, right? With one eye closed and one hand behind your back. Not playing. Damn, that's a lot of mags. Oh yeah, I think you could get the other magazines on MacCloud. You could if you go on MacCloud.com and look up dedicated magazine, you could be able to order all the OG magazines, previous issues right there. But the pre-order, locking in pre-orders right there, dedicated magazine, and that should be fun. It's coming up. Let me see. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Oh, all right. So, man, I had to stop right there because I was getting a call. So hopefully I could piece this back in the episode right here. So that's the show that's coming up in Texas. And then also NNL West has announced their final show for January let's see. I don't want to ruin it. Drum roll, please. The 4th. January 4th on a Saturday. That will be 40 years of NNL West, the last NNL West show, Northern California. Anybody who ever wanted to go to it, this is it, the last one. And I think it's going to be one of those shows that, once it's gone, every time it's going to be January, we're going to think of NNL West. We're going to think of the drives, the commutes. We're going to think of the past. People that we used to see, vendors, the models. Everybody who had a purpose to be there under that roof that one day. You're going to start thinking of all those moments, the adventures of commuting up, coming back down, you know what I mean? You're going to start reminiscing of all that every time January comes around, and it's also, I think everybody, we need to give them their props and thank you to everybody that participated in organizing this event, that volunteered, because man, that's commitment right there, man. That's a long time of years right there, It's like if I'm 41 years old right now, and let's say I started to do an event for that long, and if I was able to live that long to add another 40 years to my life, man, that would be in my 80s, 81. You know what I mean? How would I be able to still be able to function, organize an event at that age? Or even in my 70s, you know what I mean? That's a long time. And it's hard, man. It's hard when you want to pass the torch or you want other people to take over, It's really, really hard because everyone has a different drive. Everyone has different ideas. Everybody has different goals, you know? Not everybody has the same. Everyone has different visions of what they want to do, you know? And like something like that sometimes, you know, when it's time to, you know, you have that meeting and it's time to end it, where it's like, all right, well, this is gonna be it. Like this is the end, you know. Let's end it now on good terms, on everything good. We had a good run. It's probably the best time to do it. All right, I had to get some gas, but yeah, man, it's a trip. You know, people have different visions, ideas, and everything. You know, and sometimes when you gotta end it on a good note. You know, um, when things are good, and it's um all right. So I'm just gonna kind of throw it out like an example or whatever. I mean, this is true story. There is a company based out of Britain, the UK, Manchester, and they're called Master Sounds. Company's been around probably 10 years plus, and they make accessories, but eventually they jumped into the the mixer console um, part of it, right? Where now they start creating mixers for DJs, for turntables, and they've been creating a lot of different mixers. So now the mixers was like the prime thing. People are buying that more of. And then when it comes to the accessories, people are supporting that as well, but they're not now known for that. Now they're known for their mixers. Solid run, very very like high level, like really dope mixers, right? And you know, it attracts a certain type of audience that uses, because those mixers are different. They're different from other traditional DJ mixers. So as far as like it's like very niche, right? Like the crowd it attracts, it's more like hi-fi, the hi-fi sound. People who are into collecting, uh, you know, rare high-end records, house DJs, like just certain type of. It just gives you an appreciation a lot for music, and I love that company. Like I see their stuff, and I'm like, oh my god! Like I bought some Master Sound stuff. I love their stuff, right? And they've had a long run, you know, a really solid run, very successful company, and they just out of the blue made an announcement like we're no longer going to be making mixers anymore. We're done. Like end of an era, and people are kind of like, wait, what? You know, tripping, like, what? Like, you know, some people can't believe it. Some people are a little heartbroken about it. You know, different things. And then, you know, everyone's like trying to figure out what happened. What happened? Are they going out of business or blah blah blah? But that wasn't the case. It was just, you know, the owner. You could say he's quite an artist as well himself with what he does, right? But it's like anything, you know. He wants to get out of the mixer business because when they started, that's not what initially, you know, they were going to be doing, right? It turned into that, but now it's like he wants to get into other stuff. So whatever's been made, that's it. Dead stock items, buy them. Once they're out, they're out. They'll still support, you know, quality control, whatever. If there's a part that needs to be replaced, they can get it to you. Troubleshooting, all that, right? But aside from recreating, no, that's it, no more. And you know, now that time is passing by since that announcement, you start to appreciate even more, like what they did, the equipment, the parts, whatever I own that's Master Sounds. I'm like, oh my god, like dang, you know, these are the last ones or whatever, you know, like I'll never be able to get another one. Like that's it, you know, and it's just kind of cool to have a piece of history, but also like a thing like, dang, you're gonna miss like seeing all these things. Um, but at the same time, you're excited to see. Oh, I wonder what else they're gonna get into. What else they're gonna bust out with? Because I know they're gonna do some kind of collabs or things with people, right? And some people are making it seem like, oh, that's it. You'll never see Master Sounds anywhere or the name. I'm sure we will see the name on something. You know, I don't think it'll be like that, like completely vanish. Well, sometimes it's good to end on a high note than on a low note. It's like, I guess my point, what I'm trying to get to, when things are really good and you want to venture into something else, change direction, and let's say you have the funding to be able to do that, why not do it? Why try to do that when business is not good, when you're going out of business, when it's downhill, when it's like, oh man, we made a mistake, like we just lost X amount of money and we're going down, you know? Like why do that? Try to like jump ship. Why jump ship when the ship is sinking? You know, and why not, if you're gonna make that decision to end on a high note, end it. Oh damn, that's a note card. End it when the ship is still at sail, you know, at its peak or whatever. Like, because it happens, you know. Um, there's a lot of, you know, companies and things that, or organizations that come to an end. It could be various factors. It could be that it's just time for those to just retire away from it. It could be, um, there could be a falling out, whatever, uh, misunderstanding, whatever, not agreeing. It could just be like, you know, maybe we can't afford it anymore. You know, it could be various things. You know, really don't know. But I know for like NNL West, them ending on a high note is good. You have a lot of the members that have been doing it all this time, doing their event, continuing to do their event, you know, from all the previous years to this one here, this last one. And after that, it's like, you know, they're going to be more at peace, knowing that this is their last one. Because from right now, from them knowing that all right, we're going to end things next year on this date, everyone takes it differently. You know, it's almost like grieving. Like, some people are sad about it. Some people could be happy about it. Oh, what a relief. Or like, oh, cool, now I have time to do all these things, right? It could be different emotions, different things, but you're already mentally preparing yourself for that day. You know, you're mentally like, all right, cool, like we're getting ready for this. This is gonna go down, and like that. It kind of sucks when it gets swept off your feet, and you have to end things without even having the opportunity to say goodbye. That's more like sad. It's more impactful, more like, oh, what the heck, you know. But things end abruptly, and you don't get a chance to even say goodbye or to even experience the show or the thing that you want to experience, you know. So there's all those like little things like that, um, and by them organizing this last one and letting us know, it's an opportunity that we're all going to get to be able to go, if we can go. If we can go, you know, let's spread word. You know, like I've always said in the past, if you can't go to a show, just, you know, let some people know about it, you know, or post it or whatever, you know. So try to support it in other ways if you can, you know. Um, but yeah, the NNL West, that'll be the last one, of January, right there. Um, so, damn. And then I'm assuming. I mean, it's not for sure, but I'm pretty sure Alex might even do the pizza party the night before, the Slice of the West. So I'll have to get in contact with him about that and ask to see if he's planning on doing that right there. But yeah, if you go to their website, the NNL website, the flyer and everything's up. I'll be posting it up soon, just so people could see. But I also gotta post up the dedicated show too. That's coming up. Denton, dang, it's coming up, guys. But anyway, I'll let you guys go. Hopefully, I can piece all this stuff together because I don't know, my phone's kind of tripping as I'm recording this. It's going to be in pieces, but I'll have to edit it all together here. Hope you guys are good. Enjoy the long weekend that you guys have right here. All right, guys, peace out.